So, hello everyone. This is the last topic, electrolytic refining. Now, refining of metal means it is the purification of metal. We are going to purify the metal. This is the last step, we can say. The metal obtained by the reduction of ore, generally found in impure state. So, whatever we have done till now, like the calcination, the smelting, then the pyrolysis, whatever we have done, in that there is a some amount of impurities present in the metal. So this is the last step, which is called as the purification of metal, where we can obtain the metal in the pure form. Now such impure metals are called as the crude metals. So the impure metals are called as the crude metals. The crude metals need to be purified in order to make them useful. So before using the metals, we are going to purify that metal. That is, we are going to refine that metals. The process of purifying the crude metal to get the pure metal is called refining of metal. So what is refining? It is the purifying the crude metal, that is the impure metal, to get the pure metal is called refining. Now, this method of refining depends on, now the purification also depends on, or the refining also depends on the nature of the metal to be purified. What is the nature of that metal? And second, the types of the impurities present in the metal. What are the impurities that are being present in the metal? So, depending upon these two conditions, the purification or the method depends how we are going to refine that metal, or we are going to purify that metal. The method works on the principle of electrolysis. So refining of metal, it works on the principle of electrolysis. And now electrolysis means what? So when we pass the electric current in the solution, that is uh, molten states, or in the form of the ionic solution, then there is a ions are being produced in that solution, that is called as the electrolysis. Now, in this method, large blocks of impure metal is made as cathode. So, the impure metal is made of cathode, and suitable metal salt solution is made as an electrolyte. So, whatever the pure metal which we are going to purify, the same electrolyte we are using, means the same salt solution as an electrolyte which we are using. So when we passing the electric current, the pure metal get deposit on the cathode. So the pure metal get deposit on the cathode, while the impurities which are left in the solution and the noble metals, they get settle below the anode, and they are called as the anode mud. So whatever the impurities are there, are left behind, they get settled down below the anode, which is called as the anode mud. Now, the metals like gold, chromium, silver, nickel, aluminium, zinc, lead, etc., cannot be refined or purified by this method. So, these are the metals like gold, chromium, silver, nickel, aluminium, zinc, and lead. So, these cannot be purified by this method. So, let's have a look towards the electrolytic refining of copper. So, we are going to refine the copper. During electrolytic refining of copper, what we are doing? A thick block of impure copper, so the crude copper, is made as anode, and the thin plated pure copper is made as cathode. So the pure copper is made as cathode, whereas the impure copper is made as anode, by connecting it with a negative terminal of the DC source. So when we take anode and cathode, and when we pass the electric current to it, then what happens? The 15%, as well as we are taking 15% aqueous copper sulfate solution, is used as an electrolyte. So we are using the copper sulfate solution as an electrolyte solution. So as I have told you before, whatever the metal which we are refining, the same electrolytic solution we are using, means the same electrolytic salt solution we are using. So for purification of copper or refining of copper, we are using copper sulfate solution as an electrolyte. So here the impure copper is made up of anode, the pure copper is made up of cathode. Both are connected to a DC source, and a copper sulfate solution as an electrolyte is used. So here is a diagram. Let's have a look towards it. So as I've told you, this is a impure copper which is made as anode. This is a pure copper which is made as cathode. This is a DC source which is being connected, and this is a electrolyte, that is a copper sulfate solution which we are using. So anode which is a impure, so when we pass an electric current, what will happen? Whatever the impurities are there, which they are going to settle down as an anode mud, and whatever the copper which is being present in this impure copper goes to the pure copper, that is towards the cathode. So let's have a look towards the reaction. So when we pass the electric current, what happens? Copper ions from copper sulfate solution goes in the cathode, that is the negative electrode, where they reduce to copper and get deposited on cathode. So the copper ions from the copper sulfate solution which is there, they are reduced to copper and they get deposit on the cathode. So what is the reaction that takes place at cathode? We have seen that. So from the copper ions plus the two electrons gives the copper which is deposited, that is nothing but the reduction reaction which takes place at the cathode. Whereas impure anode, that is the copper of impure anode, forms copper ions and then go into the solution of the electrolyte. So at anode, the oxidation reaction takes place. Means what exactly happens? The copper goes in the solution forming copper ions and giving the two electrons. So this happens at the anode, that is nothing but the oxidation reaction, means there is a loss of electrons. So we have seen the reaction near the cathode as well as towards the anode. So there is a loss of electron, there is a gain of electrons. Hence the net result is the transfer of pure copper from anode to cathode. So there is a transfer of copper from an anode to cathode, and the impurities like the zinc, iron go into the solution, while the noble impurities which are like silver, gold are left behind as the anode mud. So anode mud is nothing but the silver and the gold which is being present in the impure copper. The other method used for the refining of the metals are, so this was one of the method for the refining of the copper which we have seen. The other method for refining the other metals are like liquefaction, zone refining, and Van Arkel method. So these are the different methods which are used for the refining of the metals. Thank you.